Hi everyone, welcome to week 9 of your Pharmaceutical Career Planning 1 course. This week we are looking at chapter 16, which is all about the pharmaceutical industry. So when we talk about industry, what we're talking about is everything from the research of a drug, getting the drug to market, all of that, the stuff in between. So basically, the first thing to understand is that the pharmaceutical industry itself is growing at a huge rate, mainly because of several different things. One is due to the research and development that's going on. The age of our population is steadily increasing, and because they're aging, they need more medications, more things are going on with them, things like that. And then there's also a lot of consolidation, acquisitions, mergers, and that kind of thing within the pharmaceutical industry as far as companies themselves go. So those two things play a large part in the growth of this particular industry. Now, the first part of this chapter goes through the drug approval process. So they kind of talk about how you get a drug from point A to point B. Excuse me. So they go over, the FDA process, the clinical trials, the new drug application that has to be filed, then the regular clinical trials, because we have the clinicals and the preclinicals, and then the clinicals, which are several different phases. So then once you go through all of that, then once you have the approval, then you have to go through some different post-marketing types of studies, and then the actual manufacturing. So even before, even once it's been approved, you still have to get it out there and get it manufactured, and then you start marketing it and getting it on the market. So that's what this particular chapter is all about. They do talk also about the generic pharmaceutical industry, and how that can save a lot of dollars when it comes to what a patient chooses to take. And biotechnology is becoming more and more common. Biotechnology has to do with producing drugs from living cells. So a lot of times you'll hear about a biosimilar drug. So what that means is that they've done some of this biotechnology and they've been able to produce a drug that's not a generic, but it does similar things that the other drug might do. Remicade is a great example. We have a drug Remicade that's been out there for years, but now we have a drug that's called a biosimilar that can be used in place of it. And there's a lot of marketing going on around it. There was a lot of research done prior to releasing it, and that type of thing. So, when you hear about the pharmaceutical industry, there's a lot of science going into the background of it. How do we get it from point A to point B? And then, of course, there's legislation surrounding any type of pharmaceutical, process we've got getting from point A to point B. These are just some of those different legislations that have passed over the years to get us to where we are now. When you think about the Pure Food and Drug Act, the Federal Drug and Cosmetic Act, the Orphan Drug Act, all of these acts are things that are out there now, but there was a lot of stuff that happened before we got to this point. So, before we got to the point where we were looking at the safety and efficacy of drugs, people were out there marketing anything and everything and saying it was a cure-all. So there's a lot of very important legislation that's out there surrounding the pharmaceutical industry now. At the end of this chapter, then you're going to start looking at the different roles of the pharmacist and the pharmacy tech within the pharmaceutical industry. They do say that there's a few roles for a tech. However, I find that that's really not true. This is the industry that I am working in. I am working in the pharmaceutical industry. I actually work for a group purchasing company. So I do more than just what's listed here. I'm actually a data analyst, so there's a lot more things that are out there for pharmacy techs in the pharmaceutical industry than what they talk about in this chapter. Another important one to think about is sales. Sales is a huge thing in pharmacy. So as you go through this chapter, if you have any problems or questions, please make sure that you reach out to me. Have a great week.